Hello everybody, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Once again, we are going to do one more hurricane hunting mission in an actual hurricane hunter's airplane that is used in the real world. Now this is the Captain Sim C-130J. I didn't know that the Captain Sim C-130 had an update to it that allows you to have a virtual cockpit with some of the systems functioning, but I figured we would do one more mission in Milton with the C-130. Let's check it out. Let's look at the flight plan. We're going to be taking off out of Punta Gorda here. I've got a couple points here. We're going to go north, and then we're going to go back to the east, and we're going to go ahead and go back through the eye again, out to the west, and then back east again. So just basically kind of like an hourglass shape pattern here as we measure what's going on inside of Milton right now as it's about to make landfall. All right, here we are inside the C-130. Big thanks to Thrustmaster again for sponsoring today's video with the Boeing TCA yoke you're going to be seeing me use, which is very, very similar to what you see here in the C-130. We've got the TPRs down here we're going to be using for our rudder pedals, and then we have the Boeing TCA throttle quadrant here, and as you can see, I've got 4 engines on that bad boy. Let's get things going. We're gonna get the battery turned to the on position here. As that's firing up, we're gonna go up here to the GTC, which is basically an APU for this airplane. We're gonna open that door. We have to wait for the light to turn on before we can actually start the GTC. But while that's doing that, let's close up the doors and remove the chocks. Entry door and wheel chocks are removed using this little clipboard over here. Really cool. We're gonna get the lights all set up over here as well. So let me get all our panel lights set up. All right, the GTC is firing up right now, so we will get the airplane powered here very shortly. GTC is on speed. Let's go ahead and turn the air turbine motor stop to the on position. We're gonna open the bleed air valve today, and we are gonna come over here and do a little bit of housekeeping there, bringing the power on from the GTC to the airplane, which we just did. Love the lighting in this product. It's not bad at all. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with this airplane. For 20 bucks, you really can't go wrong. If you're a huge C-130 fan, it makes sense to go with that. So let's get ready for the engine start procedure, which is just going to be turning our bleed airs to the override position each time we want to start an engine, and then coming down further here, and then we will start the engines down here. But we need to turn our boost pumps on first for 1, 2, 3, and 4. That looks good to me. We'll get all this taken care of eventually once we get all the engines on gen. Anti-collision light comes to the on position, and we are ready to start engine 1. We just need to push the prop lever forward, and then we're going to start engine 1, just like that. We got a good start on engine 1, so we'll go back to the overhead panel. We'll make sure that the gen is turned on for engine 1. We come up here, we make sure that the engine bleed valve is in the on position. Override for number 2, prop lever forward, and turning 2. Good start on engine 2. There goes the generator there, and we turn the bleed air to on. Now override for number 3. Again, prop goes forward, and we start it up. That's a good start on 3. Engine gen comes on. We go up here, make sure that that's to the on position, and then override for number 4. Condition lever forward, and starting 4. All right, we're going to turn the Gen 4 on now, and the bleed air is going to go to the on position. We're going to turn off the GTC. We don't need that anymore. We're going to kill the bleed air on that, the air turbine motor stop on it, and now we'll set that to off, and we'll close the GTC door as well. Move down here, turn our instruments to the on position, and the fuel and all that stuff. We got plenty of fuel for today's mission. Next, we need to set this to nav. To make sure our gyro pilot is set to range loc, so we're picking up that GPS signal. So now we can see 245 for the course, and we're 40 miles from that point, so that is working as it should be. Landing lights are going to come to the on position. We're going to extend those, and we're going to turn those both on. All right, we're going to go 1 notch of flaps here for takeoff. We're going to be experiencing a lot of wind on takeoff, right around 43 knots of wind expected here today. Looking at the weather here in Punta Gorda, marginal VFR weather, we've got winds 150 at 3.1, gust into 4.3, 10 miles of visibility, broken 2,100, overcast 2,900, altimeter 2924, which I do have set, so that is good to go. It's going to be a quick taxi off of Delta down to runway 15 for departure. Flight control check, got left, back, right, forward, neutral, left, right. Flight controls are free and correct. All right, wind is at our back right now. We've got the windshield wipers on, but they don't do a whole lot in Microsoft Flight Simulator unless you have a third-party add-on that's figured it out, which the Shorts 360, when I fly that, it certainly does move the water away, but in the new sim, we won't have to worry about that. That will be taken care of. Almost down here to the runway, we've got our flaps set. We're pretty much ready for departure. Remember, that wind is going to be heavy, but it's right down the runway, which is ideal for us, honestly. We're all lined up here on the runway, bringing our power up here, keeping that nose forward pressure here. Set our takeoff power here on all 4 engines. Man, yeah, that is squirrely a little bit right there. Takeoff power set. Airspeed is alive. On our rotation speed here, nice and easy. On back we go. Yep, there goes the wind. Woo! All right, gear coming up. Get on up to 10,000 feet today for our cruise. All right, little rocky getting out of Punta Gorda right now, but now we're turning on course over the ocean. You can see the waves are pretty insane right now. Let's pull our power back a little bit. We're getting that tailwind, so it's going to be trying to make us go faster and faster each little bit. And let's continue our climb to 10,000. We're 22 miles from the next point, but that looks pretty rough ahead. I believe that is the main area we're looking for here. There's our needle coming to us. A little bit further back. There we go. Now we're back at 250 knots, looking good. But yeah, the wind's pretty gnarly on the way out, that's for certain. All right, we're going to get our autopilot set up here, and then we can use some nice, easy movements here. So let's go ahead and engage that autopilot. Now we can use this for our vertical speed if we want. 2 miles to the first waypoint. Here comes our turn right now. We're at about 10,000 feet. We're increasing our speed. We're going to pull our power back a little bit here, and then we're going to get this pitch just set up to 0 so we can maintain that 10,000. There we go, right about there. Oh, about there is pretty good. But yeah, now we're headed all the way out here. This should take us to the eye based on what we saw on Medio Blue. So nothing should change there. Pull our power back just a little bit more. And now that we're above 10, we can just go ahead and bring these landing lights in and turn them off as well. We want to maintain 10,000 feet during this entire mission. That's what the real hurricane hunters use, is 10,000 feet. Hence why I did it in the longitude yesterday. But here we are 104 miles from that next waypoint. But I think we're probably about 40 miles from Milton right now. So we don't have like a GPS display or anything, but you can use the VFR map and you can see there's our first waypoint we took off out of Punta Gorda to get to, and now we're tracking north towards the storm. But yeah, you can see it's moved more inland to the east right now, so that's what we're going to do, is just continue to make adjustments as necessary to get us on path towards the eye, which is going to be right up here, and we can go visually with that. We don't have weather radar or anything like that. It does have a radar in it, and there is a switch to turn it on back there, but I'll put the curtain away so you can see it. Right back here, there's a switch right there, but it doesn't seem to do anything, so I don't know how that works. All right, I've done one barrel check so far, and it dropped like crazy. So we're getting back to 10,000 feet right now. Let's just go ahead and just push down one on that so it maintains 10,000 again. So we are getting closer to the eye. I saw about a 700-foot drop on that one, so that is a good indication that we're getting closer to the low pressure point of Milton here. Some towers right off our north here. Some more stuff off to the left there, but this is looking more and more sinister the closer we get to it, that's for certain. All right, here we go. Let's see what the winds are doing right through here. So far, just a few small bumps here and there. But we are getting closer to the main wind circulation, which is just going to be on the northeast of the eye wall itself. So nothing crazy right here. You can hear the airplane creaking around. We're going to make another turn here to the north. It's going to get us more into where the big buildup over here is. That's what I'm interested in right now. Let's do a barometric pressure check here. And it went up that time. So low to high, clear the sky. We're going to go ahead and bring her down. All right, into this wall we go. Let's see what's going on with this. I'm gonna keep trying to climb back up to 10,000 feet, but we're changing that altimeter setting, and it's kind of throwing the autopilot system off, obviously. But yeah, nothing wild right here. More precip. Pretty heavy precip right there. but smooth through here, which is wild. All right, so we're way north of our waypoint there. We're going to head back inland a little bit here to the east, and then we're going to cross back through it again to the southwest. That is the plan of action right now. So nothing insane as of right now. I don't think we have found the strong part of the hurricane, that's for certain. Let's do a barrel check here. And, okay, we're seeing a change there. Interesting. We're at, looks like 294. Now we're in the threes now. Okay, so we're in the threes as far as that goes. And it is dropping the closer we get to this wall. So what I think happened is the actual eye of the storm has moved more to the northeast inland. And that is why we were to the west of the storm. And we were in the outer bands that would have been on the southwest to west, all the way to the northwest edge of the hurricane itself. So we are currently right now headed towards this giant spot right here, which I think is going to be the worst of the winds, as this thing is a lot closer to land than I thought it was. All right, chasing the autopilot right now as we make those adjustments to the altimeter, but we are about to punch right through this, and this looks wicked from our view right here. There's our precip we're hitting right now. We're just staying right here on course of 090. A little bit more of a climb, if possible. There we go. We're getting heavy precip, but we're not getting crazy wind shear, which is kind of interesting. Let's see what the barometric pressure reading is here. It looks like it went up a little bit, so we're moving away from it. So perhaps we need to make a turn to the south after we punch through this part of it here. Let's go ahead and start making our turn to the south. All right, just north of Tampa right now, we're going to be checking our barometric pressure. The lower it gets, the closer we're going to get to the eye, and that's what we're going to be tracking right now. We're going to head over here to where our custom waypoint was located, and then we're going to start that turn out to the southwest. All right, so I did a barometric pressure reading on that one, and it dropped like crazy. We're at 292s right now, almost down to 291s. We're not in the 28s yet, but we're at 291, which is in the ones, so that's actually pretty decent right now. So we're going to have to climb back up again here to maintain 10,000 feet. Been in and out of the clouds right now, nothing significant so far. And now we're starting to break out of these clouds here. So we're getting closer to 10,000 feet, so not seeing anything crazy right through here. Nothing that depicts an eye wall, that's for certain. The further out we go this way, it looks like it's lower clouds, so we're going to have to possibly go back to the east. I think it's probably off to our left, honestly. That's what it's looking like right now. Let's do a pressure reading here. And yeah, it dropped again, so we're getting closer to it, that's for certain. All right, we're making our turn out here to the left, and that looks like our next spot we're going to go check out is over there, because it's really built up over there. And sometimes what happens here, and the reason why you have to be patient when you're hurricane hunting in the sim, is that Meteor Blue has updates, and it uses those weather stations, those METAR stations there, and updates. So sometimes it loses the data, and the storm will kind of die out. And then once it gets the new data, it just explodes, and then you can see it again. So I think that's what happened when we went north, and now this looks very, very convincing right over here on the left. We even got these low-level clouds around these towering clouds over here, so that's where we're headed right now. Okay, so we're gonna make a change here. We're gonna go south because it looks like the hurricane itself, look at the real data, has moved south of Tampa. The eye is like more making a landfall near Bradenton and Sarasota down there. So we're gonna turn back south this way. So I think that might be, well, it's closer to where we're gonna return anyway, but man, that means our landing is gonna be insane today. Barrel check here, and we dropped to we're in the 2.8s now. 2.883 it looks like right now, so we are in the area of this thing. I think we just possibly punched through what they're kind of considering is the eye right here. This is the lowest pressure that we have seen so far. We've got Virga kind of just spinning around us here, all the way from the right to left. But this is a giant eye wall if that is the case. Yeah, I think we are in the eye right now. It has made landfall, and we are in the eye. It's currently about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you can see how it's back here on the east side, all the way to the north, and it wraps around us. It's open down towards the south, but that was to be expected. But we got our lowest pressure readings when we broke through that last section back there, and now we're looking higher each time. So it's possible that that is the eye. That's how it's being depicted. So yeah, we're tracking here on the north end of the eye. You can see the eye has moved all the way south of Tampa here, and it is basically where we just flew out of. Right over the Sarasota area and all that is pretty much where it was. And you can see the whole thing is broken apart down to the south, so that makes sense. So we pushed through that eye wall. That's where we were through that precipitation. Now we're on the north side of this thing, and we're gonna go back down south through it. Once we get a little further towards Tampa here, we're over Lakeland right now. And then we're going to drop south, and we're going to head back towards Punta Gorda. That's where we should encounter the worst of the winds, right along the north edge here. Now remember, Meteor Blue is going to be behind, so it's off to the left even more. So when we were out here, when we broke through that eye wall, that's absolutely what we saw there. It's very, very clear right where we were just flying a little bit ago. So here's our weather radar. From what we can tell, the eye is right down here, pretty much spot on where I thought it was going to make landfall. That's why we took off out of Punta Gorda. So by the time we make it down here, we should be in the eye itself. But wow, absolutely wild. At this precip core right along here, I think we haven't flown, but we just flew through it a little bit, but I didn't get any precip, so like I said, it's hard for us to get this accurate of data from Medio Blue, but it's doing its best, that's for certain. And we're seeing that on the barometric reading we're getting in the airplane. So the winds in Punta Gorda right now are not great. Winds are 180 at 44, gusting to 69, and 5 miles of visibility, haze, broken 1,900, overcast at 2,400, and the altimeter is 2908 there. So that is as the eye is starting to move in towards the storm there. You know, but we're doing a mission of science today. You know, not every single flight we have is going to be insane turbulence and crazy, you know, stuff that we had in the last one. But more or less, I'm very impressed with what the sim's doing here on Milton as it makes landfall, which I really wanted to see what that's like. However, the landing is going to be spicy, 1,000%. So here is the radar right now. You can see we are pretty much in the eye of the storm. The further south we go, back towards Punta Gorda over here, and those winds are whipping at 1.4, you know, so right out of where we thought it was going to be. So on the backside of that eye, it's spinning into the airport there. So that's pretty wild to see how accurate that is. But this is a giant eye. Look how massive this thing is. That's why it didn't make sense at first, what we were seeing, but now it does because it's fallen apart all the way to the south as it made landfall. All right, we're at 2,000 feet right now, and we're going to be tracking to the Punta Gorda VOR, which is 110.2, and I'll show you how to set that up. So right here at VHF Nav, we're going to put that at 110, and then we got 1 and then 2. So that should be set. Still slowing the airplane up a little bit here. We're still messing with our autopilot system here. And now we can set this over to VOR ILS right there, and then we're going to spin this course until it's direct to the airport, which is right about there. So let's get our heading back to the left here. Come on, airplane, climb, climb, climb. What are you doing? What are you doing? All right. Still doesn't want to climb. A little bit more? Maybe a little bit more. All right, there we go. Now we are headed towards the airport right now. And we'll know we overfly the airport whenever it flashes, but we don't have an ILS we can use here with the winds that the way, you know, coming out of 140 off our nose. So we're going to have to go visual here, and hopefully we'll be able to see everything. We're at 200 knots right now. We're going to put our first notch of flaps in, and we're going to see if we can overfly the airfield, maybe see it, maybe see the runway, and go for it from there. But this is going to be a wild one, so I'm going to keep my my head down here a little bit more to the right. We're not getting any DME from the VOR either, which is sad. Maybe it doesn't have DME on it, but we're able to use it as a nav aid. A little bit more to the right. We got to be getting close to the airport, you know. Have to be. A little bit more power here. We're still on autopilot right now. Just watching our airspeed here and keeping an eye on the altitude as well. Let's bring that down by like 2 notches there. We'll prevent that climb from happening. But yeah, no, it's really starting to separate here, so we should be flying over the airport any moment. But yeah, the cloud layer here is not helping us out at all, unfortunately. So we spin this course around. We should be able to find where the VOR is. It's kind of right off our, a little more to the left here. So I'm going to go about over here. Should be pointing towards the VOR there, which is going to be near the field. And I've got the ground right there, just barely though. Barely got the ground. Let's pull our power back a little bit more. We're going to be landing on 1.5. There it's moving to the right now, so we should be seeing it. These lakes, man, look at the water on down below us there. That is insane. Absolutely crazy winds here. And we were expecting that, that's for certain. All right, we should get the airport in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and kill the autopilot. So my airplane. And we'll go ahead and hit reset for that so it stops flashing lights at us. And we're going to continue a little bit of a descent here. That'll work for me. And we should be able to see this airport soon enough. It might be off to our right a little bit now. Okay, now below the clouds. Let's see if we can see anything over here. Let's pull our power back. There's the airport right there. Awesome. All right, so we can't get into it. So we're going to go ahead and circle the field here, and we're going to enter a right downwind for 1.5. So about 1,000 feet will work for me. Although we are getting a lot of climb out of this airplane right now. There we go. The only thing I don't like about this plane is the trim on it is not very good. And even if you don't have the autopilot turned on, it kind of feels like a gyro. It's like pushing and pulling where you leave the elevator. I don't know how realistic that is on the C-130, but that's what we're dealing with right now. So I'm happy that we have the airport in sight. That's going to help us. That's our runway right over there. So we'll be able to make a right downwind. I'm going to do a teardrop approach for the most part. All right, we're in a good spot about right here, so we can drop that landing gear. Adding some more flap in here as we're going to slow the airplane down even more. We don't want to get up into these clouds because, man, we want to be able to see what we're doing here, right? All right. Keep our turn here to the right. Yeah, look at those waves there. That is wild looking, man. Absolutely wild. All right, about 1,500 feet here. Let's keep this turn coming. We can be steeper now that we're in a downwind to the runway. Nice teardrop approach. I'm very happy that we have visibility. That was one of the biggest things I was worried about, was visibility. Getting into this airport. We're going to set our flaps for landing. It'll help us a lot with drag and with the slowing of the airplane. There's the runway there. We're a little high on the approach, but we can correct for that. So remember, the winds are going to be off our left at a very high speed. Man, oh no, they have shifted from the right. Look at this. We're going to have to crab into that big time. That is crazy. By the way, I did put our landing lights back on. Whoa, hello, that's some wind. I did put our landing lights back on our way down. All right, here we go. Yeah, the winds are from the right. Big time. You just go off of feel on that. So they're going to carry us to the runway here with this crab. I've used a lot of crosswind correction here as well. Oh, we're getting a little fast. Let's bring it back. Bring it back. There we go. I'd like to get on the glide if possible. Seems like we're right on the glide. There we go. Now we are. Looking good. Fighting that wind. We use that left rudder and then right aileron to put this thing in. So throw the crab out with the rudder. Pull the power. And right. There we go. We're down. Reversers. There we go. A lot more right on that. And we are down. I told you it was going to be a spicy one. And it was. That was a crazy, crazy landing. Look at that windsock, man. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, so winds in the hurricane itself were not that bad from what we, experienced. In real life, it's a lot different, obviously. But sometimes the sim gets it right, sometimes it gets it wrong. However, it was a scientific run. We did see the barometric pressure dropping like crazy in certain spots, and we were able to verify that we were actually in the eye of the storm. I just didn't realize how big that eye was. That was it was massive. So hopefully everybody is okay that was down in Florida. We are thinking of you. That is for certain. All right, yeah, these winds were not even 180. They were out of the right, a lot heavier there. Which now we have to turn this all the way to the left. And one of my hurricane missions we did, somebody said, you don't have to do any crosswind correction in the sim. It doesn't recognize it. That's not true at all. As you saw there, though, the wind started lifting that wing up, so you have to use a lot of crosswind correction in this airplane and in others. All right, back to the ramp we go. little more to the right. Okay. They don't want us on the center line, I guess. We're going to go where they want us to go. Happy with that? Nope. More. Okay, right here. Okay. What are they doing? All right. Perfect. So that parking brake. Just kill the engines by pulling the condition levers all the way back. And just like that, we're back where we started. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's video in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Been wanting to check out the Captain Sim C-130, and why not do a hurricane hunting mission when there is a livery available I got on flightsim.to. Everything will be linked in the description below if you want to check that out. This airplane was 20 bucks. There's things I like about it, things I don't, but it's the only C-130 that we have currently for the sim, so that's the reason why I took the plunge on it. Anywho, hopefully all of you are safe and you're doing well. I know a lot of you live down in Florida and are dealing with Milton, so we are thinking of you, that is for certain. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.